Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new podcast here at Mike Herron's Podcast City. I am Mike Herron, also known as the Hurricane, also known as Big Mike. Got my man, Creative Cap on the wheels of steel, producing this bad boy, and William Silva. Am I correct? You like to call William Bill? I mean, what do they call you?
Just call me Will Silva.
Chill Will Silva. I like it. So what's going on? Well, if you could just bring that microphone a little closer to your thing right there.
Yeah, sure.
Just pull it. You can work that right there. Pull up a little bit.
Okay.
Now you're good. Now you're sweet.
Got it.
So what's going on, man?
Not much.
You pull up in a fresh car. You got you're a well-dressed kid. You got the world in front of you.
Right.
A Durfee grad, no less.
Yeah.
We're doing this podcast to talk about the good that happens in the Fall River public school system, in particular Durfee High School. I know that because I received an amazing education from a Fall River public schools, as my brother did and my family members did, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, all of it. But far too often, only the negative gets talked about.
I agree, yeah.
Does that frustrate you?
Yes, for sure. There's so much good about Durfee, and like a lot of people, focus on the things that they shouldn't be and really ignore the rest of it that they should be.
Really? And who does that in particular? Like, I mean, where do you see that happen the most? Is it the media, or is it social media? Is it gossiping among people and parents? Where do you see the most of that?
So I think it's
that negative vibe. Where's it coming from? Because it ain't coming from here.
Right.
Because you know the name of this episode, right?
Yes.
Durfee Rocks.
Yeah,
you like it?
Yeah.
That's dope. No?
Love it.
All right, I hear you.
So I really think that it comes from like it's really everywhere. Like there's other cities, other towns around us. The people who recognize Fall River's like name, that usually it comes with a bad connotation, which is not something that should be happening, but it is, and it's kind of something that like they shouldn't do. That should be addressed.
No, it's sad. Most of them were born, or their parents were born in Fall River,
yeah,
and they were able to live a good life, and that's why they moved to the suburbs and live in McMansions now. Well, that's for them.
Right.
Not for me. I'm on Bedford Street at Billy's Cafe, so I'm about as real Fall River as you can get, okay? And I love it, and I know, and it bothers me to no end, the negative connotation that is trying to, choke the good air around the place. There's a new school coming.
Oh, yeah. We're excited about that.
There's a lot to be optimistic about. But this series that I started, is going to interview between 12 to 15 former public school students and talking about what their experience was like in the Fall River public schools and how it's helped them, informed them. And no greater story than going to an Ivy League school,
Right.
from Durfee High School. And that is the ending of your high school story, but there's a whole lot we missed. And you came highly recommended to me as one of the first people that I should interview, because you, young man, have an interesting story. It didn't always go smoothly for you. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna get into that. But tell everybody who you are, where you from. Your name's William Silva, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. You're from Fall River.
From Fall River, originally from Brazil. That's where my parents came from. I was actually born up there.
You're born in Brazil.
Yes, born in Brazil.
Awesome.
Yeah, the southern part, and then we came down here when I was 2 years old.
Sure.
And since then, we've been living same house.
Whereabouts do you live?
South side near the Tiverton border.
Okay.
Yeah.
The south end off of
Stafford Road.
Yeah. Exactly. How's that casino mess up there?
Oh,
It's pain in the ass, isn't it?
Traffic is crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So you come to Brazil when you're how old?
2 years old.
2 years old.
Right.
So you go to Fall River public schools.
Yep.
Right from the start.
Exactly. All my life. I first.
How many people in your family?
There's 5 of us.
5 of us.
Yeah.
Mom and dad.
Mom, dad, 2 younger sisters.
Mom, dad, 2 younger sisters. What's your dad do, if you don't mind me asking?
He's in the construction business. He he does drywall.
Okay, and your mom?
She doesn't really work by choice.
Sure.
Yeah, we kind of go along with what my dad does.
Okay, good. How was it moving from Brazil to Florida? You have the Portuguese thing.
Yeah.
Kind of in common. It's a different kind of Portuguese, right?
It is different, right?
But you still get that culture, so it must feel, it must feel pretty decent about that when you get old enough to.
Yes.
To know. Tell me what it was like.
Okay, so in Fall River, there's a lot of Brazilians, a lot more than I thought, at least. Yeah. And through the years, we've kind of come to met them, and there's this huge community that's super welcoming and super great to us, and we've kind of been with them for most of the time, but then also the Portuguese people, and we have that connection to the Brazilians.
Sure.
It's a really unique one, and it's been great in that those terms. Yeah.
So was it an easy transition for you?
It was pretty easy because there's so many similar things.
Anybody making fun of you because you're not from here? Any difficult times at all? Like you go back to Brazil, any bad words?
All right. Let's see. Not really. It does come with some kind of people assume that about the English, and that I've not really that it took me a while to learn and everything, and have to assimilate. But
they say English is a very difficult language to learn. Is it?
Portuguese? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, even for somebody who was I was born speaking it, but my parents spoke English, so there's that kind of mixture. But yeah, it is pretty hard to learn.
You grow up in Florida. You go to public schools.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first school that you go to?
First school was Sylvia Elementary.
Sylvia Elementary.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are Hollow, 5 years old, kindergarten, right?
Yeah, kindergarten. That's where I started.
Sure. Sylvia's located?
The north end.
In the north end.
Yeah.
Now, why do you go all the way from one end to the other?
I have no idea, but that's where they kind of sent me, so I just went along with that flow. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a problem meeting friends at all?
Let's see, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe we all remember.
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Did you feel welcome? Did they go not being from here? Did the teachers go out of their way to?
They did.
Maybe
sure,
do a little
yeah.
extra. Talk to me about that a little bit.
All right, so I do remember certain teachers that I had at Sylvia School. One of them was a preschool teacher. We still have the picture and everything at home, and she was super super nice. One of the first people who really got me into learning English. And she was super supportive about that, and really taught me what I needed to know, and she kind of got me started here.
What was it like making friends for you? Was it easy making friends? Was it difficult? It's a long bus ride. Talk to me about the assimilation process into the classroom.
Right. So
where some of these kids may know each other, their parents may know one another.
Yeah, exactly. So, that there's always that benefit of having to, knowing their parents and having friends and everything. The language barrier was something. At that point, I was still not really fully, speaking their language, but still, it was really good to get to know these different people. I was always in class. I took the bus as well, so that's where I got a lot of friends too, and then that whole thing. Yeah.
The hard way.
Yes.
Harder than some.
Right. Exactly.
What were your formative years like? Now you start feeling comfortable with yourself. You're in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Are you playing sports? Are you playing an instrument? Do you have a social circle yet? Talk to me about your rise through the K through 5 journey through Fall River Public Schools.
All right, so it's actually kind of interesting. In the 3rd grade, I actually had to switch schools. I changed over to Green School because of the GATE program.
Sure.
Gifted and
So you qualify for that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And
were your parents insistent that you apply for that program? Or did you just kind of fall into it? Did a teacher guide you that way?
It was mostly teacher guided. Yeah,
sure.
I do faintly remember we took a test, and then after you take that test, they kind of review everybody, and the teacher, they decide who should get invited into it. And that's I remember going to a special place, and we kind of got to meet all the other people who also got invited into it. And it was that's where I started meeting the first people, the few people that would stay into my life, even now. Yeah.
That's when your ability starts putting you with
certain people
like-minded.
Yes, exactly, like-minded.
But it doesn't start very easily for you. When do you start when you started struggling academically, right, or struggling behaviorally, or whatever it was your struggle consisted of, you would kind of tuned people out for a little while, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me about that.
So that kind of actually happened a little bit later, back, later into middle school.
Into middle school?
Yeah, because then you have that other,
Middle school's very difficult, very awkward.
Yes, exactly. It's that awkward transition you have to make into this new, you think, you're put in with other classes, with other people from different schools, and it's this huge mixing pot, and getting used to that was
the
kind of hard.
fishbowl gets bigger.
Exactly, yeah. And getting used to that is pretty hard, and you have to really work towards it. The people I got involved with, they were kind of different groups and everything, but at first it started off not really, I didn't really care about my schoolwork as much as I should have in middle school, and that was kind of because I just didn't feel like it would affect me personally. For some reason, you feel disconnected with how you don't really when you're in middle school. Is it
because of the age you're at and the awkwardness of that?
Yeah, you don't really
that
fully
middle
realize.
School people tend to kind of struggle in middle school, and they're going through puberty. They're finding their identity, right? For the most part.
Yes, that's
socialization is difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
So how serious of the wrong path were you going down? Were you experimenting with drugs and alcohol at all?
Oh, no, none of that. Mostly just, kind of slacking off, not doing what I was supposed to do.
Tuning people out?
Yes, exactly. Just, not really, because at that age, I didn't fully realize how big of an effect, even back in middle school, what you start doing starts affecting you later on. Yeah. And it just kind of.
What do you mean? Tell me something that you did in middle school that affected you negatively later on.
I remember I'd always skip classes, skip school, stuff like that. To do other things, and that was kind of stupid.
What were you doing when you were skipping school? What were you doing?
I remember I used to just kind of leave and go get food. And
go get food?
Just walk around.
Just walk around?
Anything that didn't have to do with school, I just kind of...
Embrace? Yeah. Now, who were you doing this with?
If it wasn't me, it was me and a couple of other friends. I haven't really been in contact with them, but people from back then that I was friends with, I met in middle school and everything.
Sure. So are you running with a little bit of a wrong crowd, possibly, or are you the wrong crowd?
I don't think I
are you the leader of this operation of bandits skipping school and going to Dunkin' Donuts to get something to eat? I mean, are you being led, or are they following you?
I'd say I was being led.
Being led,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the people.
Sure. Can't blame them, though.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I definitely wouldn't.
I hear you, yeah.
Yeah.
So... how big does the rut get in middle school?
What do you mean by, you said rut?
The rut.
Oh, ruts.
Do you understand what I mean by a rut? How big does do you dig the hole with bad decisions and behavior and grades? Do your grades declining?
Yeah, as soon as you start skipping class, you're missing important school time.
So they go from A's and B's to what?
C's and D's, possibly even F's. I've never gotten an F. I've never been.
Sure.
I've always managed to.
But you're looking at a dramatic decline in grades and eagerness and being.
Exactly.
So, do your parents get concerned at all?
They did, yeah. They've always been kind of on top of that, and they've always asked me oh, what's going on? You need to get back on your stuff because this is gonna affect you in your future.
Sure.
And there's always been that aspect too. They came here for a better future for all of us.
Sure.
And that kind of includes me, so that kind of gives me.
Did you ever feel like you were letting them down?
Yeah, all the time. Because with stuff like that, I've always feel pressure to do well in school, and that's kind of something that when I wasn't doing, I was kind of feeling bad about it.
Sure. It's good that you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Feeling bad is good.
Exactly. I agree.
Conscience is good for people who are headed down the wrong path. As long as they have that little bird on their shoulder,
right,
whispered in their ear every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so you go into Durfee limping academically. I mean, what is the discussion like? Do you consider Diamond? Do you consider Bishop Conley? Do you consider Durfee? Tell me what the discussion is like, and how you're not really going into Durfee with your best foot forward academically.
Right.
So how do you end up at Durfee? What's that discussion like with your parents? Is there pressure to go anywhere else? Are you insistent on it, or are you just? Tell me what that's like.
Right. So at that point, because of the GATE program, a lot of the kids were going to Durfee because that's where you continue. You know, the classes all transfer over. And
so you're skipping school in the GATE program.
Yeah, exactly. Which takes some.
That's some character. It does take a little bit more effort. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
but I still managed to learn what I needed to. I didn't miss out on the super important stuff. Of course, there was always.
Yeah.
I could have always done better.
You can rationalize it 50 ways to sizes, but you're very fortunate that you were able to come back from that.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Usually when people your age start making bad decisions,
it just snowballs.
Right. From there, I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah, I have too. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the comeback.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you go. So what are your grades in 8th grade in a gifted and talented school?
8th grade, I would say like mostly C's and D's. You know, stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So they don't turn around. Do they threaten to throw you out?
No, not really. There were a couple of like talks. You know, people would say like, "You got to step it up. You're going to high school now. This is a new thing. You have to. You know, you're not gonna be able to keep going like this once you're in there." So you go into Durfee. How does it? So what? So there's no real discussion. You were going to Durfee anyway. Yeah, exactly. Just because that whole
I got
path,
it.
Yeah.
I understand. You get classmates, most of them from there going.
Right.
You get into Durfee. How do you do academically your first year?
My first year was pretty terrible.
I like this kid, James. I like this kid. He's been acting up in middle school. He goes to Durfee. He acts up his first year. How the hell does this kid get to Brown? You want to know why? Because Durfee rocks. We'll be back with more right after this.
KB Glass Company can cover all your needs. Commercial, residential, storefronts, glass replacements, custom showers, and mirrors. Whether it's for your business or your home, KB Glass is your one-stop shop for all your glass needs. Call KB Glass at 508-677-7179 or 401-639-2716.
At Excel Recycling, we want to turn your trash into cash today. That's right, cash money immediately for your old appliances, old automobiles, metal wire, and scrap salvage. Excel has 3 locations in the South Coast. 17 Hill Road in New Bedford, 37 Charlotte White Road in Westport, and 15 Ridge Hill Road in Asona. Nobody will pay you more than Excel. At Excel Recycling, we want to turn your trash into cash. Come see us again at 17 Hill Road in New Bedford, 37 Charlotte White Road in Westport, and 15 Ridge Hill Road in Asona.
Quality counts at Highland Fence. Highland Fence has been keeping neighbors friendly and protecting your businesses for 31 years. That's 31 years of serving Southeastern Mass and Rhode Island. Whether it's residential or commercial, Highland Fence's reputation is second to none. Remember, quality counts at Highland Fence. Call Highland Fence at 508-678-4650. 508-678-4650. Do you want to feel radiant, beautiful, and confident? Do you want to feel 10 years younger? Come to Spa Number 5, The Face Fox, located at 580 Wood Street in Bristol, Rhode Island. From Botox fillers to laser fillers and top-of-the-line skincare, Spa Number 5 has all you need to feel beautiful again. Go to spa-5.com or visit us at 580 Wood Street in Bristol, Rhode Island. Take advantage of all our fall specials happening now. Spa Number 5, The Face Fox. Another summer has passed, and once again your dream of having a pool in your backyard has come and gone. Right now is the time to make sure it doesn't happen again. Call Apollo Pools and Spas now and lock your date in for the pool you have always wanted, for you, your family, and friends to enjoy. Don't wait another minute. Call Matt Collins at Apollo Pools and Spas at 508-923-7381. 508-923-7381. Apollo Pools and Spas is located on Route 44, Lakeville, Mass.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. William Silver with an interesting story. Comes from Brazil, the age of 2. Assimilates well into the former public school system. Qualifies for the gifted and talented program at the Sylvia School. Sylvia or Green is a gifted and talented.
That's great. Both of them actually.
Both of them.
But I
Okay.
made the switch over to Green. Yeah.
Okay, so you go to Green. Then you start banging out of class. You start acting up. You start running with the wrong crowd a little bit. And you hit Durfee. Things don't go well.
No, not the first year. No.
Tell me about that process.
Okay, so as soon as you go into Durfee, you're assigned your class.
What was the first day of Durfee like? It is like you're like, wow, wow, right or wrong?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It is an amazing eye opener.
It is. Yeah.
But disgruntled parents and haters and negative types out there, it is an education in life. It is an education in life. This country's not getting any more white. It's not getting any more, this is it. This is who we are, okay? And I always thought that was one of the greatest things I left Durfee with, was a much bigger view of life
Right.
and of people and of humanity than when I went in.
Right.
Because we talk about that fishbowl getting a little bigger.
Yeah, exactly. It's so diverse. Yeah.
All right. At Durfee, it's really big.
Yeah.
And you walk in, you're like, whoa, this is the big time. This is here. When I went to school, there was 5,000 students.
5,000.
5,000.
Wow.
So imagine walking into that day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But there is good in them, the halls, that's for sure. And they're getting knocked down, and we got a new school coming. But you're struggling your freshman year. What happens?
So yeah, I started slacking off again. I didn't learn in 8th grade what I was supposed to in order to do well in my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of play catch up the whole year, and that didn't really work out for me. And I started to lose like that motivation. I started saying, this isn't going anywhere. So I don't really, because of that, my grades went down, and I would kind of just went back to that thing where I wouldn't really care about school anymore. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you run away because it was too hard? Because it's too challenging? Because you were lazy?
Definitely because I was lazy. If I wanted to, I could have caught up. The teachers, the resources were there. They're always offering help. They're the guidance counselors.
Tell me about the teachers that are reaching out for you as you continue to underachieve academically.
Right. So they assign you with the every year the freshmen go in, they have this team of teachers and guidance counselors that are always like talking with them and meeting with them constantly and making sure that they're assimilating well and everything. And so those were the teachers that I'd really meet with when I had to really talk about anything or plan anything, come up with a plan. And they're the ones that kind of got me moving forward and trying to really do better than I actually was.
Sure. When do you start listening to them?
I would say not until sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Yeah.
The turnaround comes.
Yes, exactly.
What spurs that turnaround? You have an epiphany?
Yes.
Do your parents sit you down? Tell me what happens.
It wasn't even my parents. I was just I was in the car one day. There's this thing, your GPA.
Yeah.
Okay, so I log into the app.
Yeah, this thing called the GPA. Yeah,
Exactly.
I guess I kind of know what that is. Go ahead.
So everybody starts to say, "Oh, I got my GPA." I'm like, oh, I don't even know what this is. What's a GPA?
Yeah, grade point average.
Yes, grade point
Sure,
average. Exactly. Yeah. It's basically a sum of up your grades, and it
Yeah.
shows you how well you're doing so far.
Yeah.
I log into the app to look into my grade point
Yeah.
average. It was horrible. All my friends were like, "Oh, I have 4.0s, 3.8s, all these smart people around
Yeah.
me," and I had a 3.0, which not terrible. Definitely not where nothing like what my.
No, it's on a
friends
5 scale too, right?
Yeah, that's the weighted on a 5 scale.
So a 3.0 back in the day with us is the equivalent of a 2.0 when you're on a 4 scale, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
like
so you're a C student.
Yeah, but C's, B's, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
And that really was a moment where I kind of saw that I had to do better.
Yeah.
I realized that I was kind of falling. That's when you really see that you're falling behind people, is when you have that numerical data to really look at, and you start seeing how
Sure.
far behind you really are.
Yeah. So what happens? When does the epiphany happen? When does the awakening happen? When do you say, I'm going to take advantage of these great teachers. I'm going to take advantage of these resources. I'm going to take advantage of the people that care for me, and I'm going to turn it around. And how the hell you get to Brown from here? Because this is an amazing story.
Yes, exactly. So that was actually the summer of freshman year, the summer after freshman year. I really had a lot of time to think about it and chill before it. And I told myself, as soon as I get into sophomore year, I'm stepping foot into that school, and I'm gonna all I'm doing is studying. I'm gonna focus on school. I'm gonna do everything I can to really get that back up. And I went through with it. That's what I did. First day of sophomore year I came in.
So time. First day of sophomore year, you're committed.
Exactly, I was committed.
Did you tell any teachers?
I did tell teachers actually.
Tell me about what were those conversations like?
So they started even back before the first day of school because you have to start planning your classes. I told them because they don't want to put you in classes that seem to be too hard for you.
Yeah.
Because of my grades, they didn't want to put me in those hard classes, so I had to tell them.
You have to sell yourself.
Yes, I had to sell myself, exactly.
Sure, were you good at that?
I guess so, because I got put in the right classes.
Okay, there you go, brother. There you go. Yeah. So tell me about who the teachers that you were dealing with. Tell me about some of them that helped you.
My math teacher was amazing. My math teacher, sophomore year, that was her name was Miss Brogan.
Okay.
She's super great teacher, super committed to helping her students.
Sure.
I was in a super hard class, but she was always there, to really get things moving. Yeah. English teachers as well, Miss Bernier. I had my great guidance counselor and everything to help along the way. So that was super helpful.
Yeah. So the guidance counselor's there, your teacher's there.
Yeah.
So you start turning around.
Exactly.
Tell me about that process.
It's a lot harder than it sounds. It's hours.
It takes commitment.
Exactly, it is a commitment.
But anything that Durfee's willing to give, you're eating it up now.
Yes, exactly.
Now you are open to it.
Yes, exactly.
To all of the resources, all of the programs, all of the help, all of the tutoring, all of the stuff that a lot of people don't really know about. Mm-hmm. You're embracing all of it.
Yes, exactly. As soon as you open your eyes into what Durfee has to offer, you kind of realize there's no reason for me to be slacking off. There's no reason for me not to do anything because there's always something going on, some new opportunity that you can kind of throw yourself into and do really well in. And that's kind of what I did.
So when did you start seeing dramatic progress academically?
As soon as the first term ended, sophomore year, I started my grades, A pluses across the board. I had so many clubs. That
takes a while to get that GPA up, though, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Does that frustrate you along the way?
For sure it did. Because it's a lot. An F is a lot more serious than an A is. That's what teachers tell us. If you get an F, your GPA goes way down. You get an A, it goes only a little bit up. Yeah. But that's just fair. You have to really work to get back up and replenish what you've lost, and that's what I tried to do.
When did you start seeing a light at the end of the tunnel? When did you start feeling comfortably academically that you were going to get to where you needed to go?
Right. So that happened as soon as I started joining clubs, and that was only because you have your academics and that's going well, but you're not really putting what you learn in school into work until you start joining these academic clubs and really putting it into action. And so that's when I started joining these different clubs, the environmental club, the giving club, a charity club. And these were all instances where I would really put myself to work, and everything that I learned, I started putting it into that. And then you start seeing that your grades go up, your social interactions go up. You start really gaining a lot from everything.
And you're around other teachers, other like-minded students.
Yes, exactly. The teachers, teachers that you don't even have, but they're there for you, and that you can talk to them and ask them questions, ask them for life advice, college advice, all this stuff.
What is the community of Durfee like? When I say community, from the principal down to the janitor, how would you describe it?
Super close. You ask them a question, they'll answer you. You ask them for help with something, they'll be there for you. They all communicate really well. So if one teacher sees that you're struggling, she'll talk to the other ones, and you have this band of support that really goes in and helps you out of whatever you're going through.
So when did you decide to apply to an Ivy League school?
It wasn't actually until this year, senior year. I've always loved Brown. I never thought it was a possibility for me. I've always looked at the schools that weren't as hard to get into because Ivy Leagues, those acceptances rate are really low. So I'd always look into UMass Amherst and UMass Dartmouth,
which are great schools as well too.
Yes, exactly.
But they're not the Ivy League school.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The accessibility is different. So I started looking at Brown. That was the only one I was looking into actually, because it's close. I want to stay pretty close in college, and that's what I was looking for.
The Upper East Side of Providence, great place to be.
Amazing, yeah.
Fellini's Pizza. It's a favorite of the boys at the Hurricane Radio Studio Podcast City. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So I visited one time actually, beginning of senior year back in September, and I went up with my parents, and we loved it. I just thought that it was worth a chance, to worth a shot to apply and see, what could come out of it. And I did realize, though, as soon as you decide you're going to apply to a school like that, you have to really commit. Even in your senior year, you might think it's time to relax, but it's really not. You need to really get those first term grades up and really continue with what you're doing in order for them to even consider.
How'd you score on your SATs?
SATs, I did really good. I think 97th.
Did somebody? Did you get help with Durfee with that?
I did, yeah. Teachers, math teachers, because there's a math section, English section.
Component, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that you ask them for help and they give it to you. There's a program too through Bristol Community College, and they give you books that you can read to help you do
all of these things were brought to you by faculty members at Durfee.
Exactly,
correct?
by faculty members, yeah.
Talk about the day you get your acceptance letter.
That was crazy. I was at work, and I've worked really closely with my guidance counselor, Mrs. Guimond.
Sure. I know her husband very well, and her very well.
Right.
And her father very well. And her uncles. And yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're great people. So I've worked, throughout the whole year. I've been working.
I tagged her in this podcast.
Did you?
Sure. We had a little technical difficulty, so she might have to try to navigate it, but we'll make sure we get it to her. I tagged her specifically in this podcast.
She's awesome. She's honestly what, I didn't think that I'd had what I got, what I needed to get into Brown, and she was always there, you should try, you've got this, and she really pushed me forward, and we worked together on my application and everything, and she was a huge part of it. So the first, I opened it, I was at work. I worked down at a senior living home as a receptionist in Portsmouth. I was down there when I first opened the website that they tell you your decision, and I went crazy. I did not expect it whatsoever.
Did you leave work?
Yeah, of course I left.
That's great.
Yes,
that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Did you tell everybody at school? Did you thank anybody? Who the first person you thanked?
Ms. Guimond. I emailed her first thing. Yeah,
that's great.
Right after I received the call from my parents and my friends, and they were all ecstatic about it, and it was just super exciting. It was a crazy day.
Did you think about how dark were those dark days when you were skipping school and you were lost academically?
Terrible compared to where I'm at now. It's not. Yeah, nothing like it. Right.
That's an amazing story, young man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what your responsibility is to do now? You're going to motivate and help somebody like those teachers did for you.
Right, of course, yeah.
As a mentor, that's something in there. And, pass that torch.
Right, exactly.
It's great to be a hilltopper, isn't it?
It is, super good.
This is my man, William Silva. This is his story about going from Brazil to the former public schools, finding some struggling academically, making some poor decisions, yet picks himself up, dusts himself off, and ends up at an Ivy League school, Brown, one of the most prestigious schools in the country. Mm-hmm. Let's get back to that. Durfee High School is an education in life, right?
Right,
and I think that you've learned many life lessons.
For sure, yeah.
Going through that.
Yeah.
Say one thing to people out there on the fence about whether they should go to Durfee or not. I want you to pitch Durfee to them right now.
All right. Durfee, while other people might not think so, they say these different things about it. There's so many opportunities. As long you just have to take advantage of it. You have to be that student that Durfee really it fosters growth in people. You'll be ready for the outside world. There's so many different things that you can go into, whether it's academic, trades. You can do so many things with what it offers you, and so you should really think about, at least visiting, talking to some people about it, talking to faculty, those teachers that are...
Stay away from the fake news. Stay away from the social media hype and nonsense. Go see it for yourself.
Exactly.
Ask the people that are in there.
Yes, exactly. Speak directly to the people who are right there and doing taking advantage of what it has to offer, because then you'll really get a full picture about it. And
look at a gentleman like you.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
From ashy to classy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable
Right.
story. William Silva from Brazil to Brown by the former public school system in Durfee High. Who knew it was possible? I did, and you should know too. Just remember, you're listening to Durfee Rocks, Season 1, Episode 1. Next up, we got Thomas Pangely coming up real soon. He has an interesting story as well. We'll be back with Season 2, Episode 2 coming up in about 20 minutes or so. Will, great guy, good luck. I'm going to take you for pizza at Fellini's. Someday I'm in Providence doing biz. We're going to sit there. We're going to get together and talk
Sounds
again.
good, Mike.
But we're Hilltoppers. We're bonded for life now,
exactly.
brother. You got it. Peace. We're out.
All right.